Welcome, dear viewers, to a new episode of Dialogue Horizon. In this episode, we'll continue on the ongoing process, the turbulence which is happening in the country, which is aggravated at the end of last week or this week by the conflict which added to the gravity of the situation in Sudan, that is the presence or the mobilization of some troops of the rapid support forces to Marawi, north of Sudan and near the strategic dam of Marawi. So things it seems that spinning may be out of control, but we hope things will settle soon. That's why I'm happy to host in this episode one of the known, and he is very active and up to date in this, what is happening in the arena. He is our friend Dr. Abdelhaim Teyman. Abdelhaim Teyman is the assistant president of National Party, and he's well informed about what is going on. So welcome, Dr. Abdelhaim Teyman.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Abdelhaim Teyman, as we know that this episode is a little bit short, not like the normal because of Ramadan. Anyhow, we'll try to cover as much as we can. Yesterday, the Minister of Defense, the Armed Forces, the spokesman of the Armed Forces, issued yesterday or day before a very alarming statement, a statement concerning that the rapid support forces, as if they are out of control, because he's saying that they mobilize their troops, some of their troops, a sizable number of the troops, to north of Sudan, to Marawi, the strategic location of Marawi, where the strategic dam, and there is this international airport at Marawi. So they mobilize a sizable number of their troops to that area without, that is the statement of the spokesman of the army, without taking any permission or coordination with the army, as if it is at large. They are not coordinating, they did not that. The statement of the armed forces is very alarming to many people, because nothing at the end of it was said what is going to happen. They said that they put Sudan in a precarious juncture of confrontation or deadly conflict. But the statement of the army is incomplete. It just iterated or just described the situation, which is not enough to me and to you and to the elites, maybe to the ordinary people. So what can you assess? What is your assessment on this move by the rapid support forces without the permission of the armed forces, national armed forces?
Thank you for having me, and good day to dear viewers. We know that according to the law which was passed by the Legislative Council at that time in 2017, that governs the operations of the Rapid Force Army, it clearly states that the commander of the General Rapid Forces, Rapid Support Forces, they work under the command of the General Commander. So I think it's not possible for them to deploy any army or troops without the permission or the consultation or the permission of the General Commander. This is according to the law. Prevailing law. That
they are only under the commander or the head of the state.
Yes, the General Commander. The General Commander,
which is usually the head of the state.
Yeah, now he is General Burhan.
Burhan is the head of the state.
So according to the law, until now, any movement, any work should be under the control of the General Commander, which is Burhan. So it will be very strange if they move to Marawi without taking permission from General al-Burhan. So in this case, it will be a violation to the existing law. And I don't think that this can happen here.
Okay.
But there is an important issue because according to the ongoing agreement, and as you know, according to the ongoing agreement, the General commander and the commander of the rapid forces, they will work under the control of the supreme commander, which is the head of the Supreme Council that will be formed according to the agreement that is going on. But also there is another important remark concerning the law of the rapid forces, which was amended in 2019, article number 5. According to the 2017 law,
the amended 2019.
yes, they amended only one. They cancelled only one article
what is
from the law. The 2017 law, in the Article 5, says that the general commander has the right to merge the forces of the rapid force in the structures of the military forces.
National Army.
Yes, and the national army, according to their agreement and arrangements that they can.
This is Article
agree
5
on. Yes.
of the amended, or the one before amendment?
This is according to the law of 2017. But
Okay.
in 2019, this article, which gives the right to the general commander to merge or deploy or
General Commander of the Army.
yes, the
Okay.
general commander. In this case, for example, General Burhan. For example,
So this article was amended on 2019.
it was removed.
Removed.
Totally. In this article, the rapid forces can be merged by a decision from the general commander. But after this article was removed, the new agreement that is going on now now seeks and tries to find a new agreement according to which the rapid forces will be merged in the national forces. So this is one of the more important remarks that people should know.
Very
But
important.
yes, but these forces, according to the prevailing situation, they are now they work according to a law that is passed. So they are working according to the law of the 2017, which is passed by the previous regime, and we in the Freedom and Change Forces for Freedom and Change, we are working hard in order to make the necessary reforms so that the country will have only single national army. This is what we are trying to do based on the framework agreement, and this is a very important effort that has been done until now. But I hope that all these tensions will be removed, and those people who think that any clash or coalition between these two forces will give them a chance to find their agendas. In reality, this is something we know that a lot of groups are working against the political process that is going on, but this should not be at the expense of our military forces.
Okay. Many people, they want to know if you have an idea about the two forces. Now we have two forces. Some people they say the troops of the rapid support are 100,000. Some they say more than that. Some they say more than that. Some they claim that the rapid forces, they have equipment, they have weaponry. Many people, they don't know. Maybe they have tanks. Maybe they have pilots. So to what extent do you evaluate, just in case, if there is a confrontation between the army, will it be subdued quickly within a matter of hours by the army, or will it protract like what happened in Libya and in Syria? What is your evaluation according to your knowledge, what is your evaluation to the strength of the rapid support forces compared to the army, just in case if there is an imminent confrontation? To what extent will it affect the country?
As I said, according to the law of 2017, these forces, they work under the command of the general commander. So any, for example, ammunition, for example, for these forces would be at the knowledge of the general commander, of course, and in the after receiving or giving them permission. So any details of their force, ammunition, and otherwise, this is something that should be permitted first of all by the general commander of the national forces. So they don't, for example, bring or import military equipments without the permission of the general commander. In this case, we are talking about technical issues and military information. It is very hard to ascertain. Yes, to ascertain or have the exact details about the number of these forces or the military equipment that they possess. But concerning the rest of your question about whether any confrontation between these two forces will end in a matter of hours, so this is according to the experience, the human experience in the past. No one can predict outcomes of wars. We have seen these things around us, especially in modern days, because in the past you can say that the confrontation between armies can take some simple forms, but after this vast development in all areas, especially technology of information and advanced military equipments, any war in modern days take years, and you have example of Syria, Yemen, Somalia, and all these countries. They have experienced wars that extended to years. So we don't.
You can't say whether it. Yes. But anyhow, according to the information which I have, anyhow, it's not that easy. People should not undermine or underestimate the gravity of the situation if there is any confrontation, because nobody knows. There are some secrets about the size of the weaponry of the rapid support forces. Maybe the army, everybody knows the army, but maybe so. So it's always better to resolve the problem amicably.
Of course, any peaceful negotiation between the two parties, we support this first of all, and we call them to calm down and try to resolve any differences peacefully. This will be in the interest of our nation, and it will save also our goals for stability. We need stability.
Did you find any positive response from both parts?
Yes, sides? Of course. Yeah, efforts are going, and they are also. They know also the risks of this option, and we are sure they also highly responsible people. They will also understand that our country is very fragile. We have economic deterioration. We have panic in the society, and this tension should be resolved, because in this situation, any war can begin with a personal mistake. It can begin with bullets, then
one bullet can do the whole damage.
Yeah, and then a missile, and then a tank, and then a rocket. It can just develop by a personal. It can begin with by a personal mistake, for example. This is one. The second thing, that there is no option, and the absence of military. The absence of political leadership at this time is very, very important, because this problem cannot be solved without a political leadership at this time. And I'm sure that we need
we lack it this time.
Yeah, we need all efforts in order to reach this final agreement very soon and form a civil government that can bring about a final solution to all these problems. But leaving this country without political leadership in the presence of some tensions between the two big armed forces is very risky for our country, and also Sudan has a very special situation. Other countries of the Arab Spring, like for example Tunisia, Libya, Syria, and Yemen, when these revolutions took place, there were no equal in size, relatively equal in size to big armies. So you are talking about a probability of coalition between almost two equal armies. So this will
be very
big
devastating.
devastation
Very
and
dangerous.
develop into a civil war and can take many forms. So we hope that this will not happen.
We hope that this will not happen. Look, we go to another question, which is important because your party, National Party, yes, last week they called for a meeting just to assess the erratic movement of the framework agreement. It seems to them that the final signature will never happen. It seems that. So they had a meeting and they started talking about options, other options. One of the options, some people they say, is that taking back to the street, repeating the whole story of December 2018, which is to many people now it is too late because the streets are now fully occupied by the revolutionary committees. So it's impossible to get to some. They say one of the options you're proposing or the meeting proposed is to lean on the external forces to exert more pressure on the army to do something or to accept signing. Some of them they go for accepting enlarging the signatories by including some of the parties and some of the armed struggle people so that they can reach. So what is in your statement? The Ummah Party took the initiative of inviting these people to discuss this matter and came out with that just in case if it failed, there are certain other options. What are the options and what is the possibility of taking these options, start taking the options?
It is the responsibility of any political party to address challenges that exist in the society and try to find solutions for them. And the Ummah Party is exercising its role to find a solution for this tension between the military components, and second, also to play an additional role in order to expedite the process of this political process and to reach as quickly as possible to the final agreement, because we have no other option, because as you can see, Sudan is collapsing in all spheres.
So what are the options now? The first option is?
Yeah, all options, the best option.
What is your best option?
Your best option is that we need some kind of understanding, some kind of common work.
Enlarging the can you add, because now it is definitely illogical that only 3 or 4 parties, including your party, Ummah Party, that they should take the whole responsibility, and there are others who took the responsibility of fighting the hostage regime, like the armed struggle movement, anyhow. Do you think enlarging is one of the options?
Of course, first of all, I want to correct this information. The signatories of the framework agreements, they are not 4. They are almost about 40.
40, nobody knows about them. Anyhow, let us say 40.
These are, and we have more than 130 applications for signing the framework agreement.
This why we heard this, Doctor. We heard this long time ago.
But
why you did not take action on this?
Yes.
Why you are waiting for what? Everyone knows that. We are talking about the size of the contribution, size, not the number of many people. Sometimes maybe somebody will come and sign and he has no backing by our support, popular. Anyhow,
I'm coming to this point. I'm coming to this point. I'm just not talking about that these groups are satisfactory and they are enough and we don't need additional signatures. No, we are concerned about a possible consensus. And we know that peace agreement is very important, and we know that it is very important to take care of the peace agreement and to translate it in reality of people, and that the peace parties should be part of the transitional period. These things are very important, and efforts are going, and we are quite sure that their existence, their participation is very important. And this is a transitional period. This transitional period, we need the efforts of all our components, socially and politically. And this is, I agree with you in this case. And we need to open our hearts, our minds, and try to find the necessary tools in order to work together. This is very important. And at the same time, we also need the military also to participate in this effort positively and to remove all tensions that is between them at this time. So all these things are needed, and we know that it is a transitional period. We are in front of us a lot of responsibilities, especially reforms, political reforms, institutional reforms, military reforms. So these duties cannot be done without some kind of national consensus and general work between all components. So these things are very important.
So it seems that you prefer the option of trying to enlarge as much as possible, or to enlarge the signatories by including very influential and sizable, and they have support. Let us say they have to include, let us say, the armed movement, the Revolutionary Front. They have to be right in the like this. Maybe there is a controversial party, which is the National Unionist Party of Al-Marghani, because they participated to the last moment with the OCD regime, but they have a sizable number of supporters in the East, especially in the East. Anyhow, you are for enlarging without obstructing or spoiling the whole structure, without including the OCD regime supporters. Is it right?
Yes, well, of course, we need the efforts, because, as you know, almost all Sudanese have their contribution in fighting against the defunct regime through all these 30 years. So we know that it is very important to apply the necessary criteria in order to exclude those who are representing the old regime, as you said, because the old regime is also playing some mocks. They are trying to use some initiatives, and these are just titles for them, and we know that. But for all other people and parties and social components who have positive contribution in opposing the old regime, we know them. They are they should be part of this effort in this transitional period, and that we need all our efforts in this critical time, so that when you include all people, you will prepare the environment for accepting the
safe transitional period.
Yeah, for even accepting the subsequent democratic results. These are very important, because people, unless they be part of this transitional period, risks will be there concerning the electoral results.
Okay, Dr. Halim Teman. Because we're trying to go a little bit faster because of the short of time. Okay. I have a very important question, which is about the workshops. Okay. Some people, they claim that workshops is a good idea, that 4 workshops, okay, although 2 of the 5 workshops, although two of them were not successful, like the East workshop. And what is important, what is the people say, what is really impeding the process of the final agreement is the inclusion of the workshop of the army and security arrangements and security by the integration of the rapid force and the armed forces. They saw the inclusion from the beginning. It was not a good idea because it's a process, a long process. Not only this, but also it is a highly technical military process which has to be dealt with inside the military barracks or inside the military arena. So they say that you as civilians, the inclusion of this workshop is the reason for the not signing the final or reaching a final agreement. What can you say about this allegation? Do you agree that this is a real bone of contention to the whole process, the inclusion of this workshop, which did not come out with any solutions, and it was boycotted by the army, the National Army? What is your comment on this issue?
These workshops, they are first before you hold any workshop, you must first bring or receive the permission and the participation of these two groups. So they showed interest to participate in these workshops, and of course they attended this workshop, and I definitely agree with you that concerning any technical issues, this will be discussed by the committees from the military components. But the reform is not only a political, it's not only a military issue, it also has a political dimension, and as I said, according to the Constitution, the general commander of the military will be or the supreme commander of the Sovereignty Council. He will be the commander of the general commander. So in this case, we are talking about a political dimension concerning the reform, because the reform also has some political issues in this case, but we clearly differentiate between the political issues in the reform and the technical issues that concern the military themselves. And these things, they have committees that are working together. But concerning the workshops, the workshop was held basically to help also.
The workshop, okay, I'm speaking about this in particular, this workshop, which is now is causing
yes,
the whole
yes, I'm talking about this workshop.
This,
this workshop is held basically with the aim that it will help the military also to make the reforms, because in this workshop there are experts, international experts. They came here. They also they offered their experience, and they also showed them similar experiences from different countries that went through a transitional periods, just like Sudan. So there is a lot of help and a lot of experience that were there in this workshop, and they basically made in order to help them also.
But it didn't work.
Yes,
unfortunately, it didn't work because
no,
because now this is about this is where the stuck the final agreement is stuck on this. But anyhow, let us move. I will ask you another question which is related to what you are saying. Actually, because we don't have time for about 5 minutes. I have two questions in one. I will give you the first question, which is related to what we are talking about. That you have said that the international involvement, like Volcker and the other tripartite and the quadruple, these international people, they are aware of this. But some people, they say that this maybe the involvement of this mechanism is one of the problems, because they could not come to decisive or leading path for the framework to go all the way. It's stuck, and they are right on top of the work. So some people, they claim that this is the failure or maybe part of it will be due to the failure of the international involvement on brokering or giving a resolve, amicable resolve and pragmatic resolve to be accepted. So do you agree that it's a failure to this international mechanism?
We thank them. We thank the international component and our regional friends and our neighbors. We thank all those who showed interest and tried to help us. but we cannot blame them for our differences and our failures. Because, as you know, we stated clearly that their role is limited in facilitation only. So they don't have any decision in our discussions, in our negotiations. So as you know, because the role should be played by the internal components, yes, components.
The party.
Yes, this is not something that should be the international component be blamed for. These are internal difficulties, and I think we need political will. We need our friends in the military components to see the risks that surrounding our country. We want all the political parties and social components to look at the national goals and interests and to forego or forget about some minor interests. So the problem is internal, and I hope that
But anyhow, their involvement was incomplete. I agree with you. They cannot see us resolve our problem. They're trying, but they are deeply involved. That's why they claim that this is a
they are not deeply involved. They are not deeply.
We saw them going to the different areas.
Their role is limited to facilitation only. But we are controlling the political process as parties and Sudanese components. We control our issues. We are organizing, planning, discussing. This is our.
This is your role.
This is
our
role.
Dr. Halim Teman. So very sorry. It's very interesting interview, but we are short of time. Thank you, dear viewers, for being with us in the last half an hour. We hope to see you next week, after 2 weeks, after Ramadan. We hope that all people will enjoy happy Eid of Ramadan in the coming 2 weeks. We hope to see you after 2 weeks. Bye. Thank you.